Mic check, 1, 2. Mic check, 1, 2. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Sunday night live stream. Today is Sunday, June 9th. Just going to check really quick in chat if you can all hear me. I am checking loud and clear. Thank you, Tim. Hi, Tim. I haven't seen you in a minute. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Sunday night live stream. Oops. Sorry, excuse me. Today's a very sunny day here in Chicago. The sun is setting, which is why it's super bright. Sorry, I can't do anything about that. I live in a shoebox apartment. If I could rearrange the way this would work, but this is the only way I can set this up. So you're going to have to deal with the bright lights for now as the sun begins to set. But I want to welcome everyone again to another Sunday night live stream. This is an accountability check. This is a place for all of us to share where we're at on our fasting journey, on our health and wellness journey. Before I begin, I want to quickly bring this up, and I'm going to say it once, and I'm going to leave it alone after that. Last week, somebody was in here either just being a troll or being completely inappropriate. This is supposed to be a safe space. I have added moderators now to control this because for the most part, 99.9% of us here are kind to each other. But For anybody that wants to be inappropriate and get out of line, I have no problem banning people. So just take that for what you will. If you want to be a troll, go ahead and be a troll, but it's not going to last for long because I don't tolerate it here. I want everybody to feel comfortable when they're sharing their story. A lot of us are going through some very vulnerable shit, and I just don't have time for it. There's no reason. So that's it. That's all I have to say when it comes to that. I want to remind us here that this is a place for accountability. This is a place to share where you're at on your fasting journey, on your health and wellness journey. Whether you're doing well or you're struggling, this is the place for it. I know it's very motivating, very inspiring. You want to share when you're doing well, but I want to remind people that when you are struggling, when you are not doing the best, I feel like that is an even more important time to show up. That's for some people, just saying it, just writing it in chat about where you are and what you're doing, being honest with yourself, but also showing some accountability can be very helpful, which is why even in the coaching sessions that I do, a lot of some people might not find benefit when they don't think they're doing well, but coming to terms with where you're at and being honest with yourself and having an actual conversation can become very freeing. It can kind of all of a sudden bring up revelations about yourself, answer questions about why you're doing what you're doing. It might not be everyone's answer, but I just kind of want to bring that up too, because I do think it's very important. So, for anyone that's in here in chat, sharing their story, sharing where you're at, being accountable, showing up, I want to applaud you because it takes a lot to do that. It takes a lot to be honest with yourself and share that honesty with other people. For people that I coach that have brought that kind of honesty to me, you don't understand how much I cherish that because that is what I give to all of you. I try to share where I'm at and what I've been doing and how important it is for me to continue that. Because being honest with myself reminds me that I can't hide from my past. I can't continue to do what I've done in the past because it is going to lead me nowhere. With that being said, I do have a question for all of you. Are you waiting till Monday? Are you waiting till the end of the weekend to start your fasting journey, to start your health and wellness journey? Did you say to yourself, you know what? It's the weekend. I'm just going to wait till Monday. If you have asked yourself that, and it isn't the first time you've asked or not asked yourself that, if you told yourself that and it isn't the first time you've told yourself that, then I think it's time to really reassess what you're doing and why you're doing it. Are you doing it because it's the easy way out? Because you don't have to think about your eating or your exercise or taking care of yourself? I've said this a million times. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's perfect. It just has to be consistent. When I talk about imperfect consistency, that's exactly what I'm talking about when the weekend comes. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy yourself during the weekend. It doesn't mean that you can't indulge yourself on the weekend. All I'm asking for, or the only thing I'm suggesting at least, is that you're mindful about what you're doing, that you're mindful about your health. Your health is so important. And for you to just say, oh, I'm not going to think about my health for the entire weekend. Maybe some of us can have better control, but for someone like me, if I told myself that the weekend was going to be whatever, because I've done this many times, it usually will end up in an overeating episode, and the overeating episode will end up in a binge. And that binge will have very, very bad consequences because it's not just about my health. It starts to leak into other parts of my life, my financial life, my social life, my relationships, my work life. It destroys everything for me. Now, that's just me. And that's why I can't wait till Monday. I'm 200 and something days to my journey right now, 217 days. And for me to just blow it all up and say, I'm going to start Monday, it's absurd. The absurdity behind it is borderline insane. Before I continue, I see two super chats here. A $5 super chat from Keisha Quiche. Hi, Keisha. Hi, Jerome. Just love you a bunch. Thank you for the kind words. I'm sorry I missed our meeting and I apologize. Please, there's no need to apologize. It happens and I get it. So please, no need to apologize. You're good. I'll reschedule whenever you can and whenever you're ready. Please feel free to do so. Keisha, thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate you. You didn't have to send a super chat to apologize, but thank you so much. I appreciate you supporting the channel. I appreciate you supporting the stream. Thank you. Thank you. Mark, Malungai Mark with a $10 super chat. Mark, thank you so much for the donation. Completed a 44 and 61 hour fast this week. This is Mark here showing some accountability, talking about where he's at. Mark completed a 44-hour fast, a 61-hour fast this week, ate 3 meals for the entire week, 1,000 calories per meal. Thanks for everything, Jerome. You're very welcome, Mark. Mark and I, we work together. Mark does work with me. I work with him as a coach. The scales going down, how I feel, and clothes fitting better confirms this works. I'm glad that you are able to share this, Mark. Thank you so much for the donation. Thank you for the support. I'm just proud of you for continuing to keep doing what you're doing, to find success in what you're doing, but not only finding success in a physical type way, meaning that this isn't just about the scale going down. This is about fixing a lot of our habits. And I'm going to get into that in a bit because I'm going to talk about the progress that I'm at and how long I've been doing this. But it's something that I talk with Mark. This is something I talk with Mark a lot about. And I do feel like he's finding a lot of success, not just with getting the scale to move down, but on the mental part of it as well. Drew with a $5 super chat. Drew Breyer. Hi, Drew. Welcome. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the super chat. Great to see you on my 119th 60 plus hour fast today. 119 60 plus hour fast. That's amazing. Fasting pro here. Love the spotlight on fasting, but why break fast so dirty? How's your sleep with that? My sleep's pretty good. If you're asking me why I break them dirty, it's because I do. There's no other answer around it. I have lived my entire life as a binge eater, eating anything and everything. And honestly, if you look at the way I eat now versus the way I ate before, it doesn't even compare. My eating is so much cleaner today, but sometimes it's not. A couple days ago, I was at the Cubs game. I broke with beer and hot dogs, chicken tenders, fries. I ate cheesecake later in the evening, and I have no regrets about that. It's also what got me to lose 80 pounds in 5 months. I'm not saying that everybody has to eat dirty. I'm just saying that's what works for me. If I eat completely clean, if I eat completely restricted, it's a trigger for me. It's something that I'm working on and something that I'm trying to change and adapt and evolve to, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to change my diet completely. I love that you are fasting continuously and you're finding success. I'm assuming you are if you've done 119 60-hour fasts, right? But at the same time, everybody has their own journey. My journey is my journey and your journey is yours. And I hope you can respect that. So Drew, thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Star Stan with a $3 super sticker. Star Stan, thank you so much for the support. I don't know what that super sticker looks like, but after the stream today, I will take a look at that. So thank you for the support. I don't remember if you've supported before, but I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so accountability check. Again, this is a place for us to share where you're at, to share how you're doing, to share what your progress is like, to work with other people in the chat. If they do have questions, I will be here to answer questions as well, but please save those questions until the end. I want to remind people this is a safe space. This is a place where we are being vulnerable with each other. We're all here for the same goal, and that's to be healthy and happy. And I really do hope we can all respect that, because if you don't, I now have moderators in the chat who are overlooking things. And so I'll just say I'm not afraid to ban or take people out, because not out like that, but you know what I mean. I want us to feel safe in what we're sharing in this live stream, on this chat. Again, this is a safe space for all of us. I want to go back to waiting till Monday. Here at Finally Fasting, we don't wait till Monday. Here at Finally Fasting, we don't not wait, but we don't day one everything. And you know what I mean by day oneing everything? That means, oh, you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to start over. Tomorrow is going to be my day one. After my birthday, it's going to be my day one. On the first of the month, it's going to be my day one. After this vacation, it's going to be my day one. If you are guilty of doing this, if this is the cycle that you keep repeating over and over and over and over, you got to quit with the day oneing. You got to quit with the waiting till Monday, because you are not learning from it. You are just repeating the same things over and over and over. And you want to know why I know that? Because that has been me for the longest time. I'm 43 years old. I've spent the last 3+ decades. I won't say 4 decades, because I didn't have this issue until I was around 15 years old. But since I was 15 years old, which is over 3 decades, well, no, almost 3 decades, I have been doing this. I have been notorious for binge eating. I have been notorious for just throwing away the day and starting over and day oneing everything. And that is just not how I want to live my life anymore. And that's why I show up here time and time again. That's why I publish videos every few days, because I need to be accountable and I need to show up and I need to show that accountability somewhere. I said this on my last video, and I've said this in the past on other live streams, but if YouTube were to cease today, if social media was completely gone, I wouldn't have anyone to be accountable to or accountable for. And I don't know if I'd be able to keep the weight off. I really don't. That is my way of showing accountability. And for you, your motivation, you're going to have to find that. Finding accountability, you're going to have to find that. You're going to have to find that drive to keep going again and again and again. Today is day 217 of my fasting journey. 217 days. Today is exactly 31 weeks. Next Sunday will be 8 months of consistent fasting, 8 months of showing up, 8 months of being transparent, 8 months of being completely accountable for what I'm doing and why I'm doing what I'm doing on my fasting journey. Where would you be if you showed up 217 days ago? And it doesn't mean that you have to fast the way I do or eat the way I do, but what if you were here when I first started, or when I first restarted 217 days ago, right? Where would you be? If you said, you know what, maybe I can't fast for as long as Jerome is fasting for, but I know I don't eat as much as him, and maybe I could still aim for half a pound a week. Imagine the consistency there of doing that 31 weeks in a row like I have, or a pound a week. 31 pounds down if it was just a pound a week. 2 pounds a week. 62 pounds down if you had started with me back in November. Had gone through everything with me. When I started to realize that imperfect consistency was a huge key to my success. That accountability was a huge key to my success. Imagine the experience you would have built if you had been along the ride with me for the last 31 weeks. And it's never too late. I don't mean to say that to shame anyone. I just want people to realize that if you stick with it and you stay consistent with it, and that you can be imperfectly consistent with it, meaning you don't have to be perfect in what you're doing. You just have to be consistent. Imagine where you'd be today. Just sit with that for a little bit. Think about that. Think about what you would have learned and where you'd be right now. Mike with a $5 super chat. Mike, thank you. for the support. Thank you for the donation. Sup, coach? What's going on, Mike? How are you? Up 4 pounds after a refeed, but back into the next fast ahead of my doctor's visit this coming week. Feeling mentally strong these days. I love that for you, Mike. I really do. And you know, I've said that to you before. Mike's calling me coach because I do coach Mike as well. Mike, I feel like has been finding some breakthroughs as well with what he's doing and on his routine. And I'm also very proud of Mike because I feel like he's picked up things pretty quickly. And to know that you are feeling mentally strong about where you're at and what you're doing, I'm so glad I can be part, or I'm so glad I can be on this journey with you to help you find success. So I'm appreciative of you too. So thank you again, Mike. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for even just sharing where that you're up 4 pounds after a refeed. This is to let other people know too that standing on the scale after a refeed can be scary. A lot of people don't want to step on the scale after a refeed because that this is what they're afraid of, to show that they're up 4 pounds the next day, up 5 pounds. Someone like me up 6 pounds. Actually, a couple refeeds ago, I was up 7 pounds after a refeed. But did that stop me? No. Did that deter me from fasting again? No. In fact, if you're up 4, 5, 6 pounds after a refeed, that should be more power to you to start fasting again and trusting the process. And I've shown you all of that time and time again. I averaged 4.5 pounds of a gain when I was doing my 90-hour fasts. But after completing a 90-hour fast, I would lose the weight. I would not only even out from the weight I gained, but then I would lose an additional 2 pounds on average. And that's how I lost 80 pounds in 5 months. It's going to take time to learn the process and it's going to take time to trust the process. But I'm telling you, if you can trust the process, if you can be imperfectly consistent, I will help you get to your goals. I promise you, you will find keys to success. Consistency is what will find you success. I promise you that if you can stay consistent, because it's not just about the weight loss, it's about the mental part of it. It's about changing your habits. You will find success if you can do this. You will learn more about yourself than you have before if you can trust the process and continue on with this. Mike, thank you again for the $5 donation. I appreciate you. Brenda, also with a $5 donation. Hi, Brenda. It's been a minute. Thank you for the support. Thank you. Appreciate you. Hey, Jerome, I finally made it live and not a replay. I'm back on the bandwagon and I watch your videos to keep me pumped. So I was right. I haven't seen you in a minute. Thank you for making a lot. Thank you for making a live. I'm glad to hear you're on the bandwagon. Let's make sure you stay on the bandwagon. Let's make sure you practice imperfect consistency. I love that you're here. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for being vulnerable about being back. So I appreciate you, Brenda. Thank you so much again for the $5 donation. Thank you for the support. Okay. So I'm just looking at my notes. Yes, like I said, where would you be today if you started where I did 217 days ago, 31 weeks ago? Or if you showed up months later, if you showed up 6 months ago, where would you be if you stayed consistent for 6 months or 3 months? Or where would you be if you stayed consistent for a month? Just think about all of the experience that you would build doing this, starting your timer, hitting your timer, logging your info, learning about yourself. Think about where you'd be if you didn't tell yourself, I'm going to wait till Monday. I'm going to wait till Monday. Think about the other people here who have just donated and that I've been coaching. Imagine if they just said, I'm just going to wait till Monday. I'm even asking them right now. Think about where you'd be if you just said, you know what, I'm just going to start over. But they haven't. They keep showing up. They keep showing up. Even if things aren't perfect, they keep showing up. And I keep reminding them how important that is. And I'm telling all of you this. This is literally like how a coaching session would be, is how important it is to continue to show up, even when times are bad, even if you're failing, even if you are having problems binging or you're gaining weight on the scale. Imagine if you showed up instead and came to terms with it and stayed honest with yourself and just stayed consistent, imagine where you'd be if you stopped telling yourself that you would start on Monday, that you would restart, that you would day one, whatever it is, right? Wait till your birthday ends. Wait till Monday. Wait till the first. Think, you know what it is? It's a bunch of excuses. It's a bunch of excuses over and over and over and over. And you cycle doing the same thing. And that's what I did for the 2+ years I was gone from YouTube. And before I even was on YouTube, I was doing that for decades. The same thing over and over and over, getting nowhere, spinning my wheels. This is me trying to tell you all you don't have to spin your wheels anymore. You don't. If you practice imperfect consistency, there's no more spinning the wheels. This is about learning how to get out of the mud, right? To stop spinning your wheels, to find some actual progress, to move the needle forward. And moving the needle forward doesn't mean that the weight on the scale always has to go down. Moving the needle forward means the weight on the scale might go down, it might go up, but you're learning from it. You're getting stronger here. You're learning better habits. You're learning to be a better you. That's really what I'm trying to get people to understand, to come out of this, is that it's not just about the weight on the scale. It can be, it's such a huge motivator. It's lovely to see when the scale goes down, but there is so much more to this. And when you start to realize that a lot of this is just built upon bad habits, I'm telling you, the doors will open. Maybe not for all of us, maybe not. But my hope is I can just keep repeating this message and things will start to get through to at least some of us. And I feel like it has for a number of us. So, for those that might not know who I am, and I'll just kind of go through the story again. Yes, my name is Jerome. I go by Finally Fasting. I'm somebody that has been overweight ever since I was a child, ever since I remember. I look at pictures of myself when I was 4 or 5 years old. If you don't believe me, go take a look at my Instagram, same handle at Finally Fasting. You'll see pictures of me when I was a kid. I was already overweight as a little kid. Overweight turning to obese, obese turning into morbidly obese. The heaviest I weighed at was 235 pounds. For those of you that might say 235 pounds isn't that much, I'm also 5'3". So at 235 pounds, wearing a size 38 waist, wearing a size double XL. I used to wear double XL back in the day because it was also the 90s and baggy clothes were in, luckily for me, because I don't think, well, baggy clothes are kind of back. But anyway, um, my whole life I have dealt with not only being overweight and obese, but somebody who has dealt with disordered eating. I am somebody who suffers from binge eating disorder. I used to purge when I was younger. I no longer purge, but I have binged for almost my entire life. Today is 217 days of me not binging. That is a huge feat for me. That's a huge success for me. That's a big W for me to go this long without binging after binging for almost 2+ years straight after I left YouTube. Every day was a binge, every single day after day after day, spending who knows how much on DoorDash, on Grubhub, scared to leave my apartment because I didn't want to be seen. I was too embarrassed to be seen. I felt guilty about the weight that I gained. I was afraid that somebody might notice me and see all the weight that I did gain. When I was a kid, I used to, and I'll share this, and I know I've shared this before, but I knew I started to have issues when, even as a kid, I would I would eat chocolates that I would find, and then I would hide the wrappers under the bed. And you would think as a kid that's such a maybe an innocent thing, but that's probably the very beginnings of my shame. And I would hide it because I didn't want to get caught, because I knew I wasn't supposed to eat that food. I wasn't allowed to eat that kind of food as a kid. When I was a teenager, I would hide food in my backpack. I would go to the gas station across where I used to live, and I would buy, those 25-cent Little Debbie snacks, whether it was, um, I'm trying to remember the names now. I used to eat them all the time, whether they were like cosmic brownies or I'm trying to think of the white one. Forget what they were called. Or the Nutty Buddies. Anyway, a number of those. I would buy those. I would buy chips. I would buy pop, and I would stick them in my backpack. And I would go home and I would go to my room and I'd lock the door and I'd eat it all. And I would do it in secret. And then later in my teenage years, I would not only binge on that food, but I would purge. If you're not familiar with purging, it means that you would throw it up. And I would do that because I was afraid of gaining too much weight or having people notice I was gaining weight. And then it just became binging after that for decades. And I used to go to therapy. And when I was younger, I thought it was a bunch of bullshit. I thought to myself, these therapists don't know what they're talking about. I went through not a ton of them, but I went through a number because I would try to get help when I could. Luckily, now as an older, more mature adult, I have been going to therapy now, I think for almost 2 years with the same therapist. At one point, I was going to multiple therapists, especially it happened during the 2 years I was gone from YouTube. I decided to finally go to therapy to figure out how I could get out of what I've been suffering. And therapy has been such a breakthrough for me. It's been very helpful for me. It's been very helpful even just when it comes to helping others in coaching. I've learned so much about myself. I've uncovered so much about myself. And I do think it's put me in a much better mental place today, combined with the fasting that I'm doing. I can say that I finally feel like I have a lot of things figured out. It doesn't mean that my binging is cured because I don't think it's ever going to be cured. I take a lot of pride saying I've gone 217 days without binging, but I know that the risk is still there. I know the possibility of binging is still there. I know that I still have thoughts about binging. I do. They're not as strong as they used to be, but they're still there. There are times where I feel like I don't want to do anything for the day. I don't want to coach. I don't want to get on a live stream. I don't want to make a YouTube video. I don't want to work. I don't want to exercise. I just want to lay on my couch and order a ton of food and binge on it, but I haven't done that. It's weird. Even talking about it right now, it makes me feel like I want to do it. That's how strong that binging feeling is. That's how strong it still lies with me because it's been decades long. And when I talk about habits and I talk about bad habits, that's exactly what I'm talking about. These are bad habits that I am trying to fight every day. And if this is you, if this is the thought process that you have, I want you to understand that I feel like there's a way out. I really do. And I do feel like part of that way out is being here, is showing up, is sharing your story, is being accountable, is having someone to talk to about it. Because I know it's not easy for a lot of people to admit that they overeat or the shame that goes behind it. Because it's not something that when I was a teenager, when I was in my 20s, you think I was talking about this with anyone, any of my friends? No. And even when I did finally talk to a therapist in my 20s about it, I felt like I couldn't trust them. I felt like they didn't understand because in my head, I'm like, you didn't go through this. You don't know what it's like. I think differently today. I do value anyone I talk to. I value people who want to take the time to actually have a conversation because it helps me. It helps me understand that I'm not alone. And I want you to remember this too, is that you're not alone in this. You might think you are, but you're not. You're talking to someone who has been doing this now for nearly 8 months, who has tried to figure a way out. And I found that with fasting. It's been a lifesaver for me. It really has. And I hope that it can be for you too. I lost 80 pounds in 5 months through fasting, and I want to remind people, and I don't mean to say this as like a braggart, right? I'm not trying to like flex on it, but I want people to understand that as somebody who is a type 2 diabetic, as somebody who has high blood pressure, I have reversed all of that through fasting. I stopped taking metformin for medication. I never took the semaglutide that I was prescribed. I just was stubborn about it, but I didn't take any of those. And during my fasting protocol, I lost this weight naturally, right? I don't take supplements. I don't take medication. I've never had weight loss surgery. Again, I'm not saying these things to brag. I'm saying this because, as somebody who has suffered from obesity and morbid obesity and type 2 diabetes, I have been able to find a way out through fasting, nothing else, just through fasting. Yes, of course, I incorporated exercise. Of course, I incorporated the way I eat. Whether people want to think I eat dirty or not when I break, doesn't matter. I lost the 80 pounds this way, and I have no regrets. I have no qualms about it. I have learned to change the way I eat. I have learned more about myself today than I ever have in my entire life. And I'm very proud of where I'm at. I take a lot of pride in what I've done and how I've gotten to where I'm at today. Abdi with a $5 super chat. Abdi, thank you so much for the support. Thank you for the donation. Abdi says, "Hi, Jerome. I'm on my second extended fast in June. Congrats, Abdi." Abdi, again, showing accountability here, sharing where he's at and what he's doing. And this is one way to do it. Your live streams are keeping me motivated. I'm glad that they can be motivating for you, Abdi. Thank you for always showing up and being here. It's keeping you motivated and focused. I love that for you. Thanks for the support and great content, Abdi. You're very welcome. Again, thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate you so much. I want to commend people who are here, and I'm not just talking about people who super chat. I'm talking about anyone who's in here who's sharing their story and sharing where they're at and being as vulnerable as they can. And I hope that when you are being vulnerable in this way, that it is giving you hope. It's giving you motivation to keep going. It's giving you the feeling that you're not alone in what you're doing, because you truly are not alone. You truly are not alone. Sorry, I need to fix my. Okay, that's way too bright. No, I think that'll work. Yeah, we'll keep it here. 217 days. I couldn't believe, for one, that I'm now almost 8 months into doing this. But the fact that I lost 80 pounds in 5 months is still, it's still a little crazy to me, to think I could lose that much that quickly, but to show people that I can continue to keep it off. I remember when I first came back, there were a lot of people who, I won't say a lot, most people were supportive, but I've seen comments where, it's like, good luck losing that weight, in a sarcastic way. Or as I really started to lose weight, they're like, yeah, but you can't keep it off. How long can you actually sustain that for? 3 plus, or I'm not at 3. Next week will be 3 months exact, but almost 3 months. And not only that, but I am very happy with what I do. It doesn't feel like torture. It doesn't feel like I'm stressing myself out every day. I mean, you all see this. People have asked me in the past, Jerome, yeah, okay, you lost this weight, but were you working? Yeah, I was working. I work as a professional photographer, as a videographer. I work as a social media marketer. I work for a lot of different clients. I've worked full days while making YouTube videos. Yes, I've done this while having a physical job, and I've been able to do it. And it's been, for me, it's been one of the best things. I love being a photographer. I love editing videos. I love what I'm doing here. It is possible. You can do this. It doesn't mean that you are going to be able to do all these things tomorrow. A lot of people ask me, "Well, can you work out?" Yes. While I was working full days as a photographer, making YouTube videos, doing social media marketing for other companies, I was also going to the gym. I have been doing that since day one. I've also been walking. I walk about an hour and a half a day at this point. Most of the time, 7 days a week. I need to be better and do maybe 6 days a week. So I'm not pushing myself too hard, but I really just enjoy walking in general. I find a lot of joy and just leisure in doing it. It's nice to walk around the lake, people watch in the city. I've been doing it for almost 8 months now. And it doesn't feel strenuous. It doesn't feel taxing, but it's taken time to get there. I'm going to go ahead and just share again some of this info. I know a lot of you have seen this, but I want to share this for people who might not have seen this before. When I started my journey on November 6th, I performed 34 rolling fasts to lose nearly 80 pounds. But I did 34 fasts here to get to my goal weight of under 140 pounds. 34 rolling fasts in a row that averaged out to 93 hours. I also did refeeds, 34 of them, averaging about 4.5 hours. And the milestones that I hit during that time: 5 days, lost 10.4 pounds. In 19 days, lost 25.8 pounds. You fast forward here, right? 62 days, lost 50 pounds. In 2 months and 6 days, I lost 75 pounds. And then in 4 months and 3 weeks, I hit my goal of under 140 pounds, losing 78 pounds. But then 4 days after, oh, did I look at that wrong? Anyway, yeah, 4 months and 3 weeks, I lost 75 pounds. I'm sorry. And then in 5 months and 2 days, I lost 80.2 pounds, dropping to 137.6. So that's kind of where I'm at when I first lost the weight. Milestones for me, huge milestones. I have never really kept things or lost weight that quickly and done it in, I'll tell you, it isn't simple. It wasn't easy. It became very automatic to me. But a big reason for that was because I had to be accountable to all of you. That's what kept me going. That's what kept me pushing. I did this without really taking electrolytes. Later on, I started taking electrolytes if I was fasting for over 100 hours. But at this point, I don't take electrolytes anymore. I don't count how much water I drink. I don't take any supplements. I've really just done this through fasting and refeeding with heavy refeeds. And I'll say this again, just because I fast for 90 plus hours, just because I currently fast for 65 plus hours doesn't mean that you have to. Just because I eat 6,000 calories on a refeed doesn't mean that you should at all. You shouldn't be eating that way. Just because I eat dirty to some, although I think my refeeds have been a lot cleaner than they have been. I think my refeeds are pretty structured. But just because I eat the way I do does not mean that you have to, right? I want you to find your journey. All I'm doing right now is sharing my story and sharing how I got there. The thing I love about fasting is that it is flexible. I said this last week. Fasting is flexible. It can be whatever you want it to be. On the days you want to push, fast longer. On the days that you need to take a break, take a break. If it means taking a full day off, take a full day off. That's the flexibility of fasting. If it means just doing an OMAD, do an OMAD. A 16-8, do a 16-8. It's finding what works for you. If you eat clean, eat clean. If you eat carnivore, eat carnivore. As I have been doing this time and time again, fast after fast after fast, refeed after refeed after refeed, I'm learning more about what I like to eat. I'm learning more about structuring the way I eat. I'm learning as I go on. And I have only learned that because I have been doing it over and over and over again. So do not expect to just start and think you are going to do A, B, and C. I'm not saying that you can't. I just know that, yes, technically, if you don't eat, you're going to lose weight. But along the way, there are a lot of things you need to learn about yourself, about if you are emotionally triggered by eating, if doing something like this is sustainable for you. What kind of cadence do you need when it comes to your fasting? Do you need a longer refeed? Because for me, my refeeds are around 4 to 6 hours. For you, they might be shorter. For others, they might be the entire day for a refeed. But you're not going to know until you start doing it and learning about yourself. This is why I talk about imperfect consistency, because maybe in your head you have this plan of what you're going to do. And usually those plans are very, very strict. Usually the plans I hear are, Jerome, I want to do what you do. I want to fast for 90 plus hours. I want to eat for 2 hours. I want to make sure I exercise and do this. And when you start setting those guidelines or those strict rules for yourself and you are not able to achieve them, a lot of us, we hang up our coats for the day, right? We're just like, fuck this, I don't want to do this anymore. But you're not learning. And instead of just hitting the timer and starting again, you're gone until you come back weeks later and you're like, I'm back. And you know what? I'm back and I'm even going to do something longer and something harder. Come on. If that is you, if that's what you're doing, you need a new plan. Let me help you find that plan if that's what you need. I it's hard because I've been there. I know there are probably some of you that are saying, but Jerome, you did it. Yes, I did, but also I wasn't perfect about it. Today, my fasting and my refeeding is completely different. They're nowhere as strict as they used to be. But it's also why I don't calorie count. It's also why I don't restrict my macros, because for me, I can't have that much restriction. I know my eating's never going to be perfect. That's a fact. My eating will never be perfect. I am never going to impress anyone with how clean my eating is. I'm never going to show anyone a six pack because I'll probably never be able to achieve one, especially with the loose skin that I have. But I'm okay with that. I've learned to accept so many things about myself instead of chasing perfection. I'll remind people of that too. You need to accept imperfection. You need to accept the fact that things are always, they're never going to be perfect. In fact, you will find more imperfection on this journey than anything else. And there's nothing wrong with that, because you're getting up and you're trying again. You're getting up, you're trying again. You are practicing imperfect consistency. Where I'm at currently, I am sorry, I'm looking at my notes and I'm trying to like do it in a very flowy way so it doesn't look like I'm whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm currently 43 hours and 45 minutes into my current fast. Yes, again, I am doing another 65-hour fast. When I complete the 65-hour fast, I will now be completing my 17th 65 plus hour fast in a row, or around 65 hours, because actually my last fast wasn't 65. I think it was 63 and a half, but right around 65. But I'll be completing 17 of them, everyone. 17. I want to go ahead and share with you my numbers here. I'm 217 days into my fasting journey, my health and wellness journey. I've completed 64 fasts in 217 days. So that means that in the last 31 weeks, in the last 217 days, I have only eaten on 64 of those days. Think about that. If anybody tells you you're not eating like that, you're doing what? You're going to die. There's no way. Show them this. Show them that this guy right here has eaten on 64 of the last 217 days. That my average fast of those 64 fasts have averaged 75 hours and 15 minutes. 75 hours is over a 3-day fast on average. My average refeed is around 5.5 hours. So for every 3 hour or for every 3+ day fast I have performed, my average refeed is around 5 hours, meaning that I fast for about 3 days, I eat for about five and a half, fast for about 3 days, eat for about five and a half. Repeat, repeat, repeat. I have done 64 of these on average. In the first 138 days, I went from 217.8 pounds to 139.8 pounds. That's a 78-pound drop in 138 days. That's under 5 months. From days 138 to 217, which is today. Today, I believe, is day 81 of my maintenance plan. In the last 81 days, in the last 2.5+ months, I have maintained my weight of 137 to 143 pounds. So not only have I lost 80 pounds in 5+ months, or not 80 pounds in 5 months have I lost, I have been able to maintain that weight for the last 2.5 months, almost 3 months at this point, if I remember correctly. That I'll have to double check. Again, just to kind of dig into the stats here, I have been performing all of these maintenance fasts, right? For today is day 81, I believe. I feel like I'm missing some info on here, but that's okay. You'll notice though, where it's highlighted in red, days 18 to 27, during my maintenance plan or my maintenance phase, I gained 21 pounds because I went on a 10-day vacation. But then I just trusted the process. I continued to do 65-hour fasts over and over and over, and it just brought me back down again. I lost the weight again, even though I ate 6,000 calories on a refeed over and over, eating whatever I wanted, having no caloric restriction, having no macro restriction. I still lost the weight. I still continued to lose it. Why? Because I trust the process, because I know that a 65-hour fast plus the way I exercise is going to get me to lose weight. It might make me lose weight at a very slow pace, but I still lose weight or maintain that weight. Andre with a $10 super chat. Andre, nice to see you again as always. Thank you for the generous donation. Andre says, Jay, man, your success speaks for itself. Thank you, Andre. I appreciate that. Also, I love how you use the negativity as fuel. It is hard for me to contain my emotions, especially again, when somebody tells me to restrict or somebody tells me I should do this or do that. I In a way, it's a little triggering for me. Number one, because first of all, I have tried everything. I have tried to lose weight through calorie restriction. I have tried to lose weight through macro restriction. I have tried to lose weight by eating multiple meals a day. I've tried to lose weight by over exercising. I've tried everything. In the 43 years I've been alive, I feel like I've tried everything. Fasting is the only thing that has worked for me successfully. And it doesn't mean that these other ways are not or can be successful, because I know that they can be, but it doesn't work for me. When I'm restricted, it doesn't work for me. That's why I keep everything open. The only thing I restrict is how often I can eat or for how long I can eat. Those are my only restrictions. If I had followed what everyone has told me to do, I would have never came up with rolling fasts. I would have never figured out a 65-hour fast, a 90-hour fast, a 42-hour fast. I would have never learned about myself. I would have never learned how to change the way I eat, how to structure the way I eat. I wouldn't have learned any of that if I had just followed what everyone was doing. That's why when I coach people, we don't talk about what I think they should do. I always ask them, what do you think you can do? Okay, let's try it. What do your refeeds look like? Okay, well, here's the way I think maybe this could be beneficial, right? Let's try it. You want to eat this way? Okay, eat that way. Let's see what it looks like. You have to find your journey. You have to figure out what works for you. If you're following someone else's plan to a T, maybe you'll find success, but can you find success long term? What I'm trying to help people do is find something that they can do for the rest of their lives. To me, I think that's more important than just following somebody else's plan. Andre, thank you for the $10 super chat. I appreciate your support. I know I'm kind of going off there. So yeah, I am 43 plus hours fasted at this point. Let me just go ahead and move on to this next slide here. I have now done 17 65-hour fasts. I've just continued to lose the weight after I gained 21 pounds during my 10-day vacation. And now I've just stuck myself in maintenance. I'm finding myself in the high 130s, trying to get myself at 137. That's where I want to be. 137 is my goal weight for the month of June, which is not far from where I'm at right now. If you look, I have this slide here to talk about the difference between my weight loss journey and where I'm at during my maintenance phase. If you look at what I'm doing during maintenance, I average around a 56-hour fast currently. The reason it's not 65 is because I had that 10-day vacation where my fasts were probably only 16 hours on average, if I remember correctly. If you compare that to my average fast during my weight loss journey, 93 hours. So a huge difference. 36-hour, 47-minute difference. That's over a day and a half of a difference. So for me, doing a 65-hour fast, no problem, versus my 90 hours. The refeed, that's also changed as well. My refeeds during maintenance are around 6.5 hours compared to my weight loss journey at 4.5 hours. That's a 2-hour difference. So not only am I fasting for a shorter amount of time, but I'm also eating for a longer amount of time, which has also helped me do this on a consistent basis. It's less taxing for me mentally, and it makes it easy for me to keep going over and over and over. Days in maintenance range. Oh, so I'm 80 days into my journey. That's right. And I've only been on 30 of those 80 days in maintenance. And a major reason is because of my 10-day vacation where I shot up 21 pounds. And then it's taken me time to get back to where I'm at. Being in maintenance doesn't mean that I'm going to be in my range all day, every day, because I know that life happens. I'm going to go on vacation next month. I'm going to have days off. I might overeat on some days. I might eat back to back on a day. Hell, I might binge on a day. But that's just life. And I'm going to have to deal with it when it happens. That's just part of how it goes. Okay, I'm going to take some time here and I'm going to do something called Fit Check. For those that are not aware of what Fit Check is, Fit Check is the part where I show you where I'm at currently, body wise, I guess. So for those that might not know, I used to weigh 235 pounds at my heaviest. Although when I did start my fasting journey, I was around 220 pounds both times. I was wearing a size extra large, but a very tight one, pretty much where it was hovering over my belly because that's where I gained most of my weight. I was wearing a size 38 waist. I'm currently wearing, this shirt here is a youth extra large. So I've gone from an adult extra large to a youth extra large. This jersey right here is a youth large. So at this point, I'm usually wearing youth large or youth extra large. Sometimes smaller, but for the most part, youth large, youth extra large. And I'll just give you, yeah. So this is just where I show you where I'm at currently fit wise. These shorts are extra small, but I still have to wear a belt because these will actually fall off because they're still too big on me. But yeah, these are everything I'm wearing are youth pretty much. These shorts are extra small though. So yeah. That's it. That is Fit Check. So I want to go ahead and just talk about a couple things before I get into Q&A. I want to remind people that the beauty of fasting is that fasting is flexible. Fasting is fasting is so flexible that it doesn't mean that you have to completely do 90-hour fasts over and over and over. You don't have to do 65-hour fasts over and over and over. If you need to take a break and slow it down, you can do that. Let's say you do a 65-hour fast. You're not sure if you can do another one. Go ahead and do an OMAD. Go ahead and do an alternate day fast. If you need to take a break and do a 16-8, do a 16-8. The beauty about fasting is you can always get back into it. If you fast for a shorter amount of time, maybe that just means you have to be more mindful about your eating. Maybe it means you need to pick up the pace when it comes to your physical activity. It's finding that balance. All of us are already fasting. Whether you want to believe it or not, whether you think fasting is bullshit, you're fasting. Everybody fasts. If you're sleeping, you're fasting. The difference is, how long do you want to be fasting for when you wake up? That's the difference. We all fast. If you can get yourself to fast for longer, you will find the benefits of fasting. You will get the health benefits of fasting, not just losing weight. For me, reversing my type 2 diabetes, reversing my high blood pressure, not feeling as fatigued as I used to be. Actually, not fatigued at all. I couldn't climb a flight of stairs without huffing and puffing. When I first started on my journey and I started walking again, I was so slow when I would walk. Now I feel myself outpacing other people, and I'm short. I'm 5'3". I find myself outpacing people who are taller than me, which is funny sometimes because I'm like, oh shit, I'm walking faster than that guy. I'm still like, there's a lot of people who walk faster than I do, though, just because I'm short in general. But still, I don't get hot all the time. I actually look forward to warmer weather because I'm not sweating all day. That's another pro out of this. I don't have to blast the AC all day, every day. That's what I used to do. I save money, right? I'm not spending money on Grubhub or DoorDash every night, spending 50, 75, sometimes 100 plus dollars. I'm not binging. I'm not using binging as a way to escape ruining other parts of my life. I've just found a lot of benefits when it comes to fasting. I sleep better. I have a lot sounder sleep. There are just so many positives that come out of this physically, but I'll tell you too, mentally, I feel like that is probably one of the biggest changes for me is mentally. It has changed my habits when it comes to fasting. My bad habits are not as bad as they used to be. Sure, I still have bad habits, but they're not as bad as they used to be. When I am fasting, I'm not thinking about food all day, every day, right? That's another mental thing there. Before, that's all I could think about. When I'm going to eat next, what I'm going to eat, how much of it am I going to eat? Oh, this is going to turn into a binge. I'm not obsessed with food all the time. I can focus on other things than just be thinking about food. That's another benefit of fasting that people probably don't even talk to you about. I'm so thankful that I have been able to do this and not only do it for this long, but show people that it can be done. I'm not taking meds. I'm not taking supplements. I'm just fasting. That's the only difference. That's the only difference. Yes, of course, I'm exercising, but that's just part of losing weight and being healthy. I guess at this point, I'm just going to continue to prove it to all of you, right? Is I just have to keep showing up. I have to be accountable so that you know that there's somebody that's still doing it, because I don't think I will be I don't think I'll ever be able to stop fasting in a prolonged state for a while, if ever. I think some people are like, well, wait, you're going to do 65-hour fasts forever? Maybe, maybe 42s if I'm lucky. OMAD would be great, but I don't think that will ever happen. I don't think I will ever eat back to back days, and I'm okay with that. I've accepted that. I honestly don't think a lot of us probably need to eat every day, let alone multiple times a day. But that's just me. And that's what works for me, especially based on the way I eat. And that's why I don't think I could eat back to back days because of the way I eat. And I've learned to live with that. I've learned to accept that. Fasting is a lifestyle. It might not be a lifestyle for you or maybe other people around you, but it definitely is and will always be a lifestyle for me, especially because it's gotten me out of where I used to be. Okay, at this point, I will be doing Q&A, so I'm looking at the very last comment here from Belinda at 8:42 p.m. If you want to ask a question, please ask a question now. I will try to answer as many as I can. I'm happy to answer them. If I can answer them all, I'm happy to do that. Just know that I might not be able to get to everything. At this point, too, I want to talk about coaching. Yes, I do offer one on one coaching. If that is something that you are interested in, you can actually check the link in the description or check the link right here and book a session with me. Or you can book a free 15-minute consultation if you haven't talked to me before. Why do I offer a free 15-minute consultation? Because I want to help people. If it means taking some time out of my day to talk to you and help you answer questions or help you figure something out, I'm happy to do so. These coaching sessions are no different than what we're talking about right now. They're no different than what I show on my videos. And I say that because I want to be transparent. These coaching sessions are one on one sessions where we talk about actually planning, preparing, strategizing what your fasting plan could look like, what your refeeds look like, what your exercise is like. Are you sleeping enough? Talking about emotional triggers. Are you a binge eater? Do you emotionally eat? And how can we fix that? How can we change those habits? That's what those coaching sessions are about. It's about accountability. It's me giving you a spreadsheet. It's me saying, hey, you don't have to fill the spreadsheet out, but if you want to, it would be beneficial. We can learn about what you're doing, how we can make things better, to get insights about if you're losing weight, if your fasts are long enough based on how you're eating. This is all about trying to figure out your journey. My job as a coach is to make sure that you can figure out the keys to your journey so you can find success. So that maybe at the end of the day, you won't need me because you figured it out. That's my hope. And even if it isn't, even if it's just to have somebody to talk to about fasting and be accountable to or for, that's what I offer. That's what that is. At the same time, I do also have an autophagy tier for people who are part of the Finally Fasting fam. I do offer live streams every Wednesday. Well, not every Wednesday. For example, this Wednesday, I am not doing one, but 3 times out of the month, that's what I am aiming for, a 45-minute live stream for those who are part of the autophagy tier. They are pretty much group sessions for fasting where I will go through Q&A. I'm not talking about myself. I'm just talking to chat. People can ask questions, people can talk to each other, people can show up and be accountable. That's exactly what that's for. So if you're interested in that, there's also a link in the description, so feel free to check that out. All right. At this point, I will go through Q&A. I will answer as much as I can. Sashant asks how to try and reduce loose skin while trying to lose skin. Sashant, are you asking how to try and reduce loose skin while trying to fast? If that's what you're asking. Now, people ask me about loose skin all the time. There are other people who talk about losing weight at a slower pace to help reduce loose skin. But to me, I don't know for sure. I feel like that is probably going to depend on a person to person basis, how old someone is, because the older you are, the elasticity of your skin doesn't bounce back as well. I mean, I'm 43. I don't think my skin bounces back as well as it would if I lost this weight when I was in my 20s. So there's that. I mean, people talk about incorporating autophagy, meaning you would really clean up your fasting, meaning that if you are fasting, people say that loose skin can be helped by having a very clean water fast or incorporating dry fasting. Those are things that I've heard, but I can't. Here's the thing is I can't ever speak on that because I have loose skin. I don't know if my loose skin has gotten better, but my hope is in a year, maybe I can tell. The thing is, the one thing I do know is I like to lift weights. I'm trying to build muscle, and the more muscle I build, the more it will fill out the loose skin. So for me, lifting weights is very important. That's what I do. I'm not going to sit here and say dry fasting is going to cure loose skin because I can't prove that. And unless somebody showed me for real that that's what they were, I mean, I can't even believe it until I really see it in my, like, right? I can't just say, but that's just how I feel about it. So anyway, maybe not the answer you're looking for, but that's the best I can give you. So Shan, thank you for the question. Oh, Vicky. Hi. Vicky says, how can I stop thinking about food, eating, staying busy? I mean, Vicky, I'm sure you've seen my video about dealing with hunger, and there are a lot of different ways about it. How can you stop thinking about food? A lot of times you just have to ride that out. I mean, I was talking to someone earlier today and I had mentioned the things you can do too is maybe think about how, or I guess what I'm trying to say is, have you really thought about how long you're hungry for? Why do I ask that? Because you'd be surprised how short you are actually hungry for. Sometimes you might feel hungry, but maybe it's only for 5 minutes. Maybe it's for only 10 minutes. Sometimes you think you might be hungry for hours, for 8 hours, for 4 hours, but usually that isn't the case. The hunger will subside if you give it some time. So maybe next time, take some time to actually figure out how long you're hungry for, and maybe knowing, just knowing that it's only for 10 minutes or 20 minutes and that it will pass can be helpful. Keeping busy for me is one of the best ways that I stop thinking about eating or stop thinking about food. At this point, though, most of the time I don't really think about it because I've just been doing this for so long. So, building your fasting muscle, being consistent about fasting can be helpful. There are so many other things. I mean, even for me, drinking a Diet Coke or a Diet Pepsi helps prolong my fast. It helps me stop thinking about food because it's something different. It's not just water over and over, or having an unsweetened tea or drinking an iced coffee is helpful for me because it's something different and it gets my mind off of food. That's how it helps me prolong my fast. Vicky, you'll have to try that out and let me know if that's helpful for you. Tremezzo Lake. Hi, Tremezzo. How did you manage to make sure that you don't eat fast at the lowest points during your fast? Um, I'm a little confused, Tremezzo. Can you clarify how did I manage to make sure I don't eat fast at the lowest points during your fast? Are you saying eat fast like eat quickly? I'll scroll down, and if I see your name again, I'll go through that because I'm not exactly sure what you're asking here. Sandra, hi Sandra, asks, will you ever do a 7 or 14 or 21 day straight water fast in the near future? Most likely not. I don't really find a need to do that. I did that 7-day fast earlier on my journey because I was just trying to time it right. But I don't see myself doing an extended fast for that long. Why? Because I know I can lose weight doing what I'm doing right now, doing a 65-hour fast or doing a 90-hour fast. It doesn't mean that I won't do another longer fast, maybe a 5-day fast or a 6-day fast. If, let's say, I ate back to back days and they were super heavy refeeds and I really just wanted to kind of take some time away from food, maybe I might do that. But I don't see myself doing something that extended anytime soon, but never say never, right? Maybe I will in the future. I mean, are you asking because you want to do something together? Is that kind of why you were asking? Um, or have you ever thought about it before? I mean, I've definitely thought about it, but usually when I think about doing long fasts like that, Sandra, it's because I'm trying to counterbalance. If you're not sure what I mean by counterbalance, I made a video on that. Counterbalance means if I told myself I was going to do a 4-day fast and then I found myself eating back to back days and then I threw away the day and it ended up meaning I ate for 7 days in a row, then I'd tell myself, okay, you ate for 7 days in a row, Jerome. Now you're going to fast for 10 days in a row. That's the only time I ever think about doing something that extended, when I counterbalance. But I've learned through experience, through trial and error, that counterbalancing never really works for me. I'm never really able to counterbalance because I'm now setting myself up for failure. I'm giving myself this huge, huge goal that I just know that I won't be able to do. Again, I know that a 90-hour fast is going to net me results. So that's kind of what I stick with. And sometimes longer, but I don't know if I could do something as long as 7 days, yes. Maybe in the future I'll do another 7-day fast, but that's really going to depend. 14 or 21 days, I just don't see myself there, especially at the point of where I'm at now, where I'm trying to build muscle. And I want to make sure I'm getting good refeeds in so I can lift heavy at the gym. So that's kind of where I'm at, Sandra. Thank you for the question. Margarita V asks, how much weight do you gain after a refeed? And so it's 65 hours that takes you back to original weight. Okay, so Margarita, let me share this with you. The reason, okay, so yes, if I do a 65-hour fast, well, okay, number one, to answer your question, I usually gain around 4.5 pounds after a refeed, 4.5 pounds, which is, what is that in kilo, just in case? 4.5 pounds is about 2 kilo, right? So I gain about 2 kilo or 4.5 pounds per refeed. And yes, after a 65-hour fast, I usually will be even, but I usually will lose even a little more. That's why I used to do 90-hour fasts, because when I did a 90-hour fast, after a 65-hour fast, when a 90-hour fast came up, I would lose about 2.2 pounds on average, which is about 1 kilo, right? I believe. And I need you to remember that this is not how it's going to work for you, because I eat 6,000 calories. So for me, on a 6,000 calorie refeed, I will hit even after 65 hours and then I lose another kilo or 2.2 pounds the day after. But that's also based on my exercise. That's also based on the way I refeed. For you, it might be completely different. If you fast for 65 hours and you're only eating 2,000 calories, you might lose more weight, but maybe not if you're not exercising. I put a lot of exercise in. So for me, that's how come I lose the weight at the rate that I do. I do have stats on this, and I've shared this a number of times. And I can maybe show you here. This is the weight gain per refeed when I was first losing when I was on my weight loss journey. And you'll see most of these, especially the latter refeeds, in like the day 100s, I was gaining 5.6 pounds per refeed, 5.6, 5.6, 5.8, 4.6. And even today, I'm still losing, or I'm still, my refeeds are heavier. I eat about 6,000 calories, and it looks like my latest refeeds have been around 5 to 6 pounds per refeed. So anyway, thank you for the question, Margarita. Scrolling down here, Elizabeth asks, how to maintain weight. How to maintain weight. Hi, Elizabeth. The question is how to maintain weight loss from a water fast. I mean, I've been maintaining my weight now for almost 3 months through water fasts. Are you asking how to maintain your weight after completing a water fast? The answer to that for me is by fasting. That's how I maintain my weight. If you're asking about how to maintain your weight once you hit your goal weight, fasting is what works for me. If fasting isn't the answer for you, if you, Elizabeth, are saying, wait, I have to keep fasting to maintain my weight, no, you don't have to. But then you are going to have to work the other levers of weight loss, meaning that your diet's going to have to be really clean and your exercise probably has to be on point. And that means that maybe you have to apply intermittent fasting. If you still want to eat every day, then that means maybe a 16-8. But if you fast for 16 hours, your diet better be really clean, unless you have a really great metabolism, right? Or maybe it's a 23-hour fast. Or maybe what it is you're fasting once a week. Maybe you're doing a 36-hour fast once a week. The other days are going to be regular eating days, but this is a very personal trial and error type thing. This is why I say everyone's journey is going to be different. So, how do you maintain weight loss from a water or how do you maintain weight loss from a water fast? One, you continue to fast, maybe at a shorter time frame. Two, you eat really clean on your diet, or three, you exercise, or four, you do all of the above and you work those weight loss levers. You figure out how to find balance between fasting, diet, and exercise. Because honestly, that's really what it comes down to. Those are the weight loss levers to figure it out. Elizabeth, hopefully that was helpful. Thank you for the question. Hey Spike, are you asking me? I'm not sure. What do I average? What do I average loss per day on my long fasts? Um, that's also going to depend because, and again, I'm not sure if you're asking me. I think you might be, but when I weighed more, I obviously lost more every day on my long fasts. Today, if I was to fast after a refeed, of course, I'm going to lose weight at the very beginning. But to lose weight where I'm at right now, if I was trying to lose extra weight, I feel like if I was going to do a long fast, I don't see myself losing more than like zero point 0.2 to zero point 0.4 pounds a day, maybe half a pound a day. But that's about it. I feel like I'm at a very lean weight now that I don't think there's any way I'd be losing a pound a day at this point, being 139 point whatever pounds. But I'd have to do a long fast to really see and make sure. Thanks for the question, Spike. John, hi, John. John asks, thank you for being my newfound fasting coach. You're very welcome, John. Do your hunger hormones subside after a few weeks of exercising the fasting muscle? Um, so yes. Short answer, yes. Long answer is I still get hungry. The hormones still hit. There are moments that I still get hungry. I have said this before. I get the hungriest the day after a refeed because, and again, I don't know the science of this. So unless I actually gave you, if I did the research and gave you an answer, I'm just telling you what I think. I think when I do eat and refeed, I think what happens is the day after, the hormone, the ghrelin hormone hits hard again because it got its food. It's about to hit hard 24 hours after because it says, hey, you ate, eat again. You need to survive. But I will say that, yes, after a few weeks of just doing this over and over and over, I don't get hungry like I used to get hungry. I don't have those crazy thoughts in my brain that I used to have about eating all day, every day. But I do think that might be a different side of me. That might be my binge eating side. That might be that psychological side that is messing with my brain, or at least messed with my brain before, that isn't messing with it as hard as it is today. I can almost guarantee you though, John, that if you practice imperfect consistency, if you continue to hit the timer over and over again and build your fasting muscle, like me and like many other people, I believe, they can also agree that fasting gets easier. It gets easier over time. You'll have to keep me posted, John. Thank you for the question. Appreciate you. Oh, I missed the super chat. Sherry with a $5 super chat. Sherry, hi. Thank you for the super chat. Nice to see you as always. Sherry with a $5 super chat says, have you had anyone say your fasting is an eating disorder when they see how you eat? Yeah, all the time. I get it in the comments. People say the most unkind things, but it's the internet and people are going to talk shit when they're behind a screen. I don't think I've ever had anyone say anything to my face about it. Some people might not agree with what I do, but that's okay. If so, how do you deal with it? Well, here's the thing. It's mostly on the internet, so I don't think twice about it. That's how I deal with it. If this is something that's happening to me in real life, that's also a little different, but I'd also kind of approach it in a way where I remind myself I lost 80 pounds. I've reversed my type 2 diabetes, my high blood pressure, all of the pros I've talked about before through fasting, right? So that's what's for me, I know what I'm doing is healthy. The other thing about this too is I'm not telling anyone to fast. I'm not telling anyone to eat the way I eat. I have never told anyone to fast as long as I do or eat the way I do. Maybe that's another way to approach it because we're all different. We all eat differently. We all have different emotional triggers when it comes to eating. We all exercise in a different way. We all, right? We're none of us are alike in that manner. And if somebody respects you, they should be able to respect how you eat, how you fast, as long as it's being healthily done, right? That's the key thing here. As long as it's being healthily done. If it's not being healthily done, maybe that's a different story. People might look at the way I eat and say, "Well, that's not eating healthily." I disagree because I'm in a good place right now, health-wise. I'm the healthiest I've ever been. I think people who see me in real life are like, yeah, that guy's lean. It looks like he goes to the gym to lift. He looks pretty healthy to me, right? I don't binge. I don't purge. I don't deal with that. I overeat, sure, but I also only do that once every 3 days. And for the most part, I feel like my refeeds are pretty clean. So, Sherry, thank you for the $5 super chat. Hopefully, that was a little helpful. I appreciate you as always. It's great to see you. Esther, Esther, with a 400, I'm not exactly sure what currency that is, but thank you for the support. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Esther Chandy says your comment about quote unquote ending the timer on the fasting app in another video was a game changer for me. Thank you. You're very welcome. That alone has increased my consciousness. Yes, and that's exactly what I am trying to promote with people. When I tell people to hit the timer, I'm usually talking to people who have issues when it comes to eating, when it comes to overeating. When I ask people or tell people, hey, the least you can do is hit the timer, start the timer, stop the timer, start the timer, stop the timer. I do that because, yes, it puts some consciousness into what you're doing fasting wise. It reminds you that you're, quote, on the clock. It makes you know that you're fasting, that you're not fasting, that you're eating, that you're not eating. I was coaching someone recently that questioned that and said, well, Jerome, I'm going on vacation. So why should I hit the timer? Here's the thing. You don't have to do anything I tell you, or I'm not telling people. You don't have to do anything I suggest. But the reason I suggest hitting the timer, even when you're on vacation, think about it with me. When I was on my 10-day vacation, I still hit the timer when I started eating, when I stopped eating. Was it annoying? Yes. because I was eating more and not fasting as long. So I hit the timer over and over. And not only was I hitting that timer over and over, but I was recording myself doing it. Super annoying. I would have rather just eaten whenever I wanted to and did whatever, but no, I recorded myself because I wanted to be accountable. Here's the thing. Imagine you're on vacation and you hit the timer when you stopped fasting. Let's say you're on vacation, you decide to get breakfast with your friends. It's 9 a.m. You're getting breakfast with all your friends at 9 a.m. and you're eating the entire day. You're eating, you're drinking, you're eating, you're drinking. 10 p.m. comes around. 10 p.m. hits. You hit your timer. You're tired. You had a long day. You hit your timer because you said, you know what? I'm done eating and drinking for the rest of the day. It's 10 p.m. Sure enough, 11 p.m., your friends are knocking at the door. Hey, come on, let's go get another drink. Let's get another drink. Here's the thing. You hit the timer. It doesn't mean that you have to keep fasting, but now you remember you're on the clock. You hit the timer. If you want to go and get another drink, sure, go ahead, hit the timer to stop and have a drink. But now you're consciously making that decision instead of just saying, oh, you want to get a drink? Okay, let's just go. Might as well go get something to eat after that. Versus I hit the timer, I'm conscious of what I'm doing. You know what? I'm going to pass tonight because tomorrow morning we're going to get breakfast again. I'm good. I'm good for the rest of the day. I'm not saying that's what you have to do. I'm just saying that that might change the way you think about it. So, Esther, I appreciate you bringing this up because, yeah, I do think that's important. So, thank you again for the super chat. Thank you for the support. Oh, you asked, do you drink coffee during your fast? Yes, I do. I drink iced coffee or I drink a cold brew. I usually don't enjoy hot coffee, but I do love a cold brew or an iced coffee. I do enjoy hot coffee if I'm drinking it with cream and sugar. And that's when I do that when I'm refeeding or when I'm refeeding on a day where I am drinking coffee. Thank you for the question, Esther. I appreciate it. And then again, thank you for the support. Thank you for the donation. Appreciate you. Okay, let me scroll back up here. I just want to make sure I have hit as many questions as I can. Oh, here's Tremezzo. Tremezzo says, I meant to say what you did to not end up breaking your fast at the lowest points during your fast, such as when you have intense feeling of hunger and nausea. How did you cope with those feelings? So here's the thing. When it comes to nausea, let me go about this in two different ways, Tremezzo. When it comes to feeling nauseous or feeling weak, if I felt that way, I would make sure that I was hydrated and I had my electrolytes. And then after doing that, I would see if I felt better. Here's my recommendation or my suggestion. If you're feeling nauseous, if you're feeling unwell, even after hydrating, even after having your electrolytes, break your fast. Break your fast. If you want to break it in a modified way where you take something small, bone broth maybe, yogurt maybe, do that. Do a modified one and then continue fasting. Or break your fast. Break your fast, hit the timer, start again. Build your fasting muscle. I can almost promise you that the nausea, the lightheadedness, the weakness will get better over time, especially if you're continuing to hydrate and having your electrolytes. Now, when you're talking about an intense feeling of hunger, if that's what you mean by the lowest points of your fast, when you're just feeling so hungry, I mean, that's very similar to someone asking earlier, how do I deal with thinking about food in that way? That's where I talk about, for me, I'll tell you, probably the easiest hack for me when I felt that way, when I felt intense hunger, when I felt like I was going to break, a Diet Coke, a Diet Pepsi, a Diet Dr. Pepper, a Diet 7 Up, a Coke Zero, a Cherry Coke Zero, having carbonated drink, even drinking a LaCroix or seltzer water, an iced coffee, an unsweetened tea. I'm telling you, that is what helps prolong my fast. if anyone is sitting here wondering, I wonder why Jerome is able to do this over and over, that might be it. For me, if I'm able to not break, if I'm able to have a drink like that, like a 0 calorie drink or an iced coffee, that's how I'm able to get past that hunger. That's what helps me. I have mentioned this before though. Chewing on ice has helped me. Staying busy has helped me. Getting out in the sun and going for a walk has helped me. Keeping my mind off of things, playing a video game, watching people eat on YouTube has helped me. Like so many of you in the comments when they say, I love watching your refeed videos. I love watching you eat. It helps me get through the hunger. That's what helps some other people too. So maybe think about that. That's kind of how I'm able to get through that. That's how I'm able to cope with those feelings. Tremezzo, I hope that helps answer your question even just a little bit. Thank you for the question. Thank you. Thank you. For the good. Hi, for the good. Hey, Jerome, if this is invasive, I totally understand. I was curious. How has your dating how has your dating life changed? Um, yeah, so I'll share this with you. I I don't I really like to keep my personal life out of this. If many of you have noticed, yes, I am very personal when it comes to where I'm at in my journey and what I do and my eating disorder and all of that. When it comes to things like this, um, it's not something I really like to talk about just because I like to have my privacy. And I appreciate you, you know, coming up front with that. But I'll tell you this: when it comes in general, not even just in dating, I'm just saying in general, when it comes to my self confidence and where I'm at, um, I feel very confident in who I am. I feel very confident in my skin. Now, I don't know if that's what you're trying to get at, if unless you're asking how has my life changed because of fasting. So, for example, dating wise, if you're asking about dating and fasting, I time everything. Everything is timed. That means that I will figure out times to see people or date if you will on days that I'm eating, right? That's how I time it out. So I time things out. Maybe I might break earlier, but you've all seen what I've been doing. I don't eat back-to-back days. I time everything out. Everything is timed for me. Again, now if you're asking it in a way of like, do people see me differently? Sure, people see me differently. People talk to me differently. I notice that off the bat. I noticed that with friends. I've noticed that with family. I noticed that just in the demeanor of how some people talk to me. I'm not saying that's right. I wish it wasn't that way. I wish people looked at me differently. Not differently. I wish people looked at me the same way when I weighed 220 versus the way I weigh right now. But I know societal norms. I know society just treats things differently. And that's just how it is. But yeah, for the good, hopefully that maybe gave you a little insight in that. So, Mr. T with a 9 pound, 9 pound. Is it what's the other one? Is this pound? Maybe it is. Mr. T, Mr. T, not a 9. This is a 10. Mr. T with a 10 pound donation. Euro. Oh, Dynamite was saying maybe a euro. Mr. T with either a euro or pound donation. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate you, Mr. T. It's nice seeing you again. Hey, Jerome, it's been a minute. It has, but I do remember the name. I do remember the avatar as well, or the profile pic. Mr. T says, it's been a minute since I've caught your live stream. It's nice to see you here. It's after 3 a.m. over here. Mr. T, why are you up so late? Why are you up at 3 a.m.? But thank you for the donation. I'm on my night shift. Oh, I should have just read ahead. Nice to see you, Mr. T. Has anyone in your real life started fasting because of you? Greetings from the UK. It's pounds. Okay, thank you all. Yes, I need a refresher. I am so bad at this. I really need to make to remember what pounds look like. Thank you all. I see I see you all here letting me know. Has anyone in your real life started fasting because of you? Yes. Yes. And actually more than one person. probably more than 5 people, if I'm being honest, has started fasting because of me. Now, I don't know if it has been consistent, but I know people fast because of me. I know people who have fasted because they have seen me do it. Um, Both friends and family have done it because of me. So yes, it has been something that's happened in real life. As far as success, some, but not all, because I also know it's not an easy thing to do for a lot of people. I also don't coach people that I know in that way unless they maybe specifically ask for it or if I'm close enough with them. But I never try to push anything on anyone because that's just not what I do. It's different here because obviously we're in here for fasting. We're talking about weight loss. People are asking for questions or people are asking for advice. So I try to help out where I can, but unless it's actually being asked for, I will never push anything on anyone. But Mr. T, thank you for the 10 euro, right? No, 10 pound. Oh my God. Thank you for the 10-pound donation. I appreciate you, Mr. T. Have a good rest of your work night. Thank you for being here, by the way. Okay, let me scroll back up here. Kahlua? Am I saying that right, Kahlua? Is it true that hibiscus tea helps with fasting? That I don't know for sure. I think I might have had hibiscus tea in the past, but whether it helps with fasting, I don't know for sure. I couldn't really tell you. Maybe somebody in the chat has had experience with hibiscus tea. I will say that for me, just drinking unsweetened tea in general is helpful. I like drinking tea. It makes it different. It gives it a different change or a different pace than just drinking regular water. So maybe in that sense, it's helped me with fasting, but that's just any kind of drink outside of water. Kalua, thank you for the question. Let me scroll down here. It's an Indian rupee. Oh, thank you, Tremezzo. Thank you for sharing that. Looper Loop says, what is the source of electrolytes? So I don't take electrolytes during my fasts, but for people who do take electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium. Sodium could be as simple as table salt. Potassium, I take something called no salt, which is a salt alternative. It tastes just like salt, but it's pure potassium. Magnesium, I take something called magnesium citrate. I take that in a pill form, but it's been a long time. You can do a lot of research. I'm sure there's a lot out there that will help you figure out what your electrolyte sources are. Okay, let me go ahead and scroll down here. Thank you for the question, Looper Loop. Goddess Blood, hi Goddess Blood. Goddess asks, could you talk about your morning affirmation where you tell yourself today is a fasting day and there is no negotiating? This is powerful advice, but it's difficult to adhere to on stressful days. Sure. So let me maybe make this twofold. For people who are wondering what this means, I have told people, I've said this before, but on the days I'm fasting, I tell people it's non negotiable. I do not negotiate with myself. I don't tell myself, well, maybe if this or this or this happens, maybe I'll eat. I don't do any of that. I plan and I prepare ahead of time. So when I am doing a 65-hour fast, I am doing a 65-hour fast. When I am doing a 90-hour fast, I am doing a 90-hour fast. When I am doing a 163-hour fast, I am doing a 163-hour fast. That is just the way it works for me. I understand that there is a possibility that that might not happen. Life might get in the way and there might be a reason I have to eat, but in the last 217 days, I have not let that happen. On days I tell myself I'm doing a 65-hour fast, I do not negotiate with myself whatsoever. Goddess is asking, can I talk about my morning affirmation? Sure. So let's say I just finished a refeed. It's one of the reasons I have such a big refeed. I eat a lot, I eat until satiety because it carries over into the next day. The next day, I'm not even thinking about food. I am still pretty full from the night before. Here's the thing, when I get up, it's not just me saying, today I'm not eating, and then I sit on my desk and I work all day. Part of what I do is routine. I get up, I go to the bathroom, I step on the scale, I go for my walk. I am taking all the calories I just ate to start using them by taking an hour and a half walk, sometimes a 2 hour walk. Usually on the days after a refeed, I walk for 2 hours. Usually on the days after a refeed, I go lift weights. Why do I lift weights? Because I just put all those calories in me. I might as well use them, right? I don't know if Angie is in this chat, but I'm giving credit to Angie for this. And I've told this to other people I've coached too, but Angie has said this. Angie is like me, where she uses exercise as a way to set things off for the day. It sets the mood for the day. It sets the tone for a day. When I go for a walk in the morning, it complements my fasting regimen. It puts me in this mindset where not only am I just fasting, but I've also worked out. And now those two things are working in conjunction to help get my fast on track, to help burn more calories, to get myself into fat burning mode. That's kind of how it works for me. And then the day after that, after a full day fasted, and now where I'm really starting to like, I felt hunger that night and now I'm feeling hunger again. That's where more discipline is put in. But here's the thing, when I wake up on that second day and I tell myself today's not non when I tell myself today's non-negotiable, I'm also telling myself, Jerome, you're going to eat tomorrow. You're already eating tomorrow. You don't have to eat today, you're eating tomorrow. I'm going to remind you of this. The food will always be there. The food is going nowhere. If you're like, but Jerome, this is a party and there's this special food, well, then that's up to you, right? But I'll tell you this, that even if that food is special or rare or whatever, the food will always be there. You can still find something similar, I'm sure, the following day. I have goals I want to hit, right? I know that if I eat a day early, I am not going to get the weight on the scale to move. When I was doing my 90-hour fasts, the reason I was able to do it over and over and over is because I knew that on day 4 of fasting, the scale, the weight on the scale would go down. And sure enough, it did every single time. And that was motivation enough for me to keep going again and again and again, because I was motivated to see the scale move down. I knew that was my fasting number. I knew that was the number I needed to hit to get the scale to move down every single time, so I could make a video and say, guess what? I lost more weight on the scale. I lost more weight on the scale. And that's how I lost 80 pounds in 5 months, because I consistently did that. Guys, I hope that was helpful. I felt like I really got into that pretty thorough. So hopefully it was helpful for you. Joanna says, I would like to hear about the affirmation as well, please. Joanna, I hope that was helpful for you as well. I see all the questions, or I see all the responses about the pounds. Sorry, everyone. Yes, I got it. It's a pound. Vicky says, Jerome, what do you all talk about in the autophagy group? You all meet on Wednesdays. Yes, we meet on Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Central, so the same time that my live streams start on Sundays. What we talk about in the autophagy group is anything that people in the group want to talk about. They ask questions about advice about weight loss and fasting, but they also use that time to share where they're at on their journey. And I talk about it. I read it out loud, and people are accountable there. And that's what they use it for. That's what the autophagy tier is for. It is like a group fasting session. It is like a one-on-one, it's like a one-on-one coaching session that I provide, but in a group type of manner. I will say it is not as personable as a one-on-one. I feel like when I do one-on-one coaching sessions, they are very, very personable. Like I can take my time to focus with the time I have with that person, but coaching sessions are still very similar in that regard. It's just sometimes the time goes by pretty quickly. 45 minutes isn't a ton of time when there are a number of people in there, but that's kind of what those sessions are like. Anyone that is part of the finally fasting fam, feel free to share if you want what it's like for you or if it's been helpful for you. Yeah, I see your other question here, Vicky. So yeah, I think I kind of answered all the questions there. Satya, no, no. Somebody else donated a rupee earlier. Yes, I know this is a pound. Somebody donated in rupees earlier. Just FYI. Cynthia asks, "Will I lose pounds like this?" And I eat salad. I'm 250 pounds. Cynthia, everyone's journey is going to be different. Are you going to lose weight fasting? Sure, you will. Are you going to lose weight doing a 48-hour fast? I can almost guarantee it. I can almost guarantee you will. The real question is how much you're going to lose. That's going to depend. It's going to depend on your exercise regimen. It's going to depend on what your refeed is like. You say you eat salad, but is that the only thing you eat? If you're eating only salad, what's in that salad? How much of it are you eating? A lot of this is really going to depend. A lot of these answers that some of you ask, it really is going to depend. It depends on the person. And it's only, I'm going to say this again, you will not know until you do it. That is why I talk about this spreadsheet and logging your info. You aren't going to know what you're capable of until you do it. The real question, though, Cynthia, is also how long are you fasting for? And if you say you're going to do 72-hour fast, can you do it consistently? Is it something that you're going to be able to do over and over and over again? These are things that will take time to figure out. Scientifically, yes. If you fast, you're going to lose weight. All of us will lose weight if we take away time from food. The real question is how much of it are you going to lose dependent on your exercise, dependent on your refeeds? How much of it are you going to gain back? And can you do it over and over and over again? Producer, right? I know we've talked before. I can't seem to pass 16 to 20 hours of fasting. I'm guessing this is what you're asking. You can't seem to pass 16 to 20 hours. Again, a lot of this is just going to be practice and hitting the timer over and over again. If you are only getting to 20 hours, maybe what you do is set yourself for 20 hours and 15 minutes. If you can get to 20 hours and 15 minutes, make your next one 20 hours and 30 minutes, 20 hours and 45 minutes. If you have to do it by a minute, do it by a minute, right? It's the practice of doing it again and again and again. Producer, the thing that I'm wondering is how consistent are you? Are you doing this on a daily basis? And I can't remember if this is the Fortusa I talked about where we had a coaching session, but I'm pretty sure I gave you a spreadsheet. So maybe I could check that and see if you've been doing that. Have you been doing the spreadsheet? Have you been hitting the timer? That sometimes is all that you need is to be accountable to do that. Sometimes that's what we need is we need that little push. You'll have to let me know. Maybe I'll check it later after this stream. Rebecca says, "Are you full of yourself now that now since you look so good?" No, I don't think I'm full of myself. Yes, I'm confident. I feel very proud of where I'm at and who I am, but I'm not full of myself. Thank you for the question, Rebecca. Nice to see you here as always. All right, let me scroll down here. Lunar Eclipse says, "Do you dry fast?" I find dry fasting so much easier. Lunar eclipse, I don't really dry fast. The most that I do when I dry fast is when I sleep and I wake up. So when I sleep and I get up, I have now stopped drinking any water. When I get up in the morning, I go to the bathroom, I weigh myself, I go for my walk and I lift and I don't drink anything. And I do that because I am trying to prolong when one, I'm trying to prolong my fast, but two, it makes drinking water that much more desirable. And by the time I have that water, then I wait a little bit and I see how much longer it takes before I really want an iced coffee. And then I do that. And yeah. So dry fasting is something I want to do. I want to do it on a longer basis. I just haven't gotten to that point yet. Thank you, though, for the question, Lunar Eclipse. And yes, you're also not the only one that says that they find it a lot easier. I've had other people tell me that as well. Steven, I see your comment here. No, there was none of that today, Steven. Just FYI. Steven says, did I miss the part where Jerome is asked if he's lost muscle during fasting? No, no one's actually said that, or at least not that I've seen. Um, Anyway, let me scroll down here. Producer says, yes, it's me. Producer, it's nice to see you. Yeah, hopefully it's just about being consistent and just about doing it over again and again and again. Daily J asks, do you drink coffee or take caffeine during your fast days? Yeah, I drink iced coffee. I drink it black. I drink a cold brew sometimes. I drink it black. I drink unsweetened tea. I drink seltzer water like a LaCroix. I will drink every so often. And yes, I drink a Diet Coke or a Diet Pepsi. Actually, I drink a Diet Pepsi more so than anything else if I do decide to drink a Diet Pop. John Boston says, Jerome, I remember when you came back online after 2 years and saw when you went live. What a turnaround you have made. Thank you, John. I appreciate you. Thanks so much. Just amazing. And you have so much more confidence. I appreciate that. I do. I am very proud of where I'm at today. I feel very confident in who I am mentally. I feel like I'm in a much better place. But I will say a lot of this is because of the experience now, right? I feel like I'm where I'm at today because I have practiced this over and over and over. I have found things like being imperfectly consistent. I have found things like going to therapy. I have found things like coaching to talk to people and repeating the message over and over and over again. I learn new things about myself every day, and I'm not only thankful about that, but I'm thankful for all of you that have given me an opportunity to talk to all of you. Right? When I talk about coaching and all of this, I offer that 15-minute session for free because I want to be able to talk to people and help them if I can. I want to learn more about what is going on in people's heads and are there new takes that I can learn from other people? Sure, I can give as much guidance and give as much advice as I can, but I'm learning so much from others as well. So thank you though for that, John. Val with a $5 super chat. Val, thank you for the donation. Thank you for the support as always. It's always great to see you here, Val. Jerome, I did a 42-hour dry fast. Congrats to you. Congrats to you for doing a 42-hour dry fast. That's incredible. Now I'm doing OMAD with a dry fast. By the way, Derek Rose would have been one of the greatest if he didn't get injured. Yes, I completely agree, which is why I am repping a Rose jersey. It's one of my favorite jerseys, other than the Jordan ones I have. I'll have to wear that in one of my future streams. But Val, thank you for the $5 donation. Thank you for the support. Congratulations on your 42-hour dry fast. Keep doing what you're doing. As always, you'll have to keep me posted on your progress. Spike says, Jerome, do you jam to your intro song on YouTube? That's a great song. Sometimes I do. I do like the song. That's why I picked it. Sometimes I feel like changing the song up, but I just haven't had time lately. Do I jam to it? Sometimes a little bit, but maybe not like full out jamming to it. So thanks for the question, Spike. Okay. I think that's kind of it of where I'm at. I want to leave you all with one or two final things. I have said this before and I will say it again because I do think it's very important. I want to remind people, do not let the weight on the scale define you. What do I mean by that? I mean that you should value yourself at whatever weight you are at now. It is one of the things that I try to remind myself day in and day out. It is something that my therapist has told me time and time again. And even though I didn't want to believe it, I continue to say it because I am believing it now. I'm trying to learn that we have worth no matter what the weight on the scale says. It is the same worth and respect and kindness and love that you all gave me when I came back on YouTube and I was up at 220 pounds. You all gave me that same type of love because you knew what I was worth. I want to remind you that you have that same worth no matter what the weight on the scale says. It doesn't mean that you can't work on yourself, that you can't continue on your journey, that you can't be better health wise, physically. You know what I mean? I just want you to remind yourself to accept yourself, respect yourself, and love yourself for who you are today, because it's so important to remember that. Because if for whatever reason I gain all the weight back, I have to remember that I'm still worth the same, even though I might not think so. Even though I still struggle with that thought today, I need to remind myself that I am still the same person, that I still have worth for who I am today, no matter what weight I'm at. Andre with a $10 super chat. Andre, thank you so much for the support. Thank you for another super chat. J-Man got to know, was that a Louis V belt? No, it's not. I'm wearing probably a $15 Target belt here. I don't even, does it have a, yeah, it does. So it's leather and that's all it's, oh, right here. It says Goodfellow, which is a Target brand, everyone. So I'll take that off since this stream is ending. No, it's not a Louis V belt. I have never bought a designer belt. And actually, this belt that I'm wearing, I feel like I need a smaller belt because that's too big. I have it notched at the, well, anyway, no, it's not a Louis V belt. Thank you, Andre, for the $10 donation. I appreciate your support as always. Finally, before I kind of sign off here, I want to remind you all, no matter how hard things get, no matter how difficult things are, if you're sitting here and you're just like, I'm having a tough time, I want you to remember the practice of imperfect consistency. I want you to remember the practice of, it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be consistent. Just because you told yourself you were going to do a 65-hour fast, just because you told yourself you were going to do a 90-hour fast, just because you told yourself you were going to do a 42-hour fast, doesn't mean that if you don't get there, that you have to give up, that you have to walk away from things, that you're going to go and binge now because you didn't get to your number. All that means is you built your fasting experience by getting to the number you got at. The practice of imperfect consistency means that you hit the timer again, you refeed, and then you hit the timer to start fasting again. It might be frustrating. It might be difficult to tell yourself, I'm never going to get there. But I can promise you, if you build imperfect consistency, if you build on your fasting muscle, you will start to do better things for yourself. You will start to incorporate better habits. Showing up here to be accountable, that's already a different habit, right? And I like to look at it as a good habit because you're showing up here for a reason. Maybe some of you are just coming here for entertainment, but I feel like most of you are in here are coming here because you need that motivation. You need that inspiration to get through another day. You need to know that you are not alone. And that's really what I'm getting at. You are not alone in this journey. I have been doing this for 7 months and 3 weeks now. 217 days. Next Sunday, I will be doing this for 8 months. You are not alone. I am currently 45 hours fasted. Tomorrow, I will be breaking my 17th 65-hour fast. Before that, I did 35 90+ hour fasts. I've done 64 of these total, working on a 65, working on my 65th fast. That's what I'm currently working on. If you think you're alone, you're not. I have been doing this so consistently now. And let's not forget, 2 years ago, I was doing 90-hour fasts for how long? 65-hour fasts for how long? I probably have over, actually, I wonder, does this stupid app tell me how many fasts I have under my belt? It says I have 535 fasts under my belt. Maybe not all of the longest, but if you see here, 64 in a row, just like I said, 64 fasts under my belt, and I'm working on my 65th. This says I have 535 fasts. They're probably not all super, super long. I bet you that was when I was trying to fast during my 2 years and I couldn't get past an OMAD, but I've been doing it. You're not alone in this. Look at the community in here. Look at everyone talking to each other, being a community, showing up, sharing their story. Fasting is a lifestyle. It can be a lifestyle if you want it to be a lifestyle. Fasting can be beneficial if you give yourself the time to practice imperfect consistency. That is all I have for this evening. I am not sure when I have my next video coming out. Typically, it would be maybe tomorrow, so we'll see. But I don't want to put another back-to-back video of me saying what day I'm at because I just feel like it's too much. So maybe what I'll do is I'll show myself eating tomorrow's refeed. Maybe not the whole refeed, but maybe an episode of Break Fast or something for the next couple of days, or maybe just a mini refeed version. We'll see. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed the time here. I hope this helped motivate and inspire you. I want to thank everybody for being in here in the chat. I want to thank everybody for their super chats, for the donations, for your support. I want to thank you for showing love like you do as always. I want you to remember to be kind to yourself. You're not alone in this journey. That's all I got. So with that being said, I'm out of here. I will see you guys soon. You guys have a good one. Take care.